are we doing, everyone? Welcome back to Vintage Cars Ireland. This week I have quite a big issue with my car, which can go hand in hand with dailying a car of this age. As I was going about my normal driving route, there was suddenly a huge bang and vibration coming from the rear of the car. I got the car back home to inspect what was going on, and I was able to see that part of the rear suspension had come loose and was hitting the rear wheel. It turned out to be a pretty straightforward fix, as all I had to do was install a new bolt that had come loose. Unfortunately, this happened again a few days later and nearly left me stranded at the side of the road. Thankfully, I had the necessary tools to do a roadside repair. Now, I managed to get the car back home safely, and I did try to attempt the bolt one more time. However, I did go a little bit too tight and it snapped on me. I was left completely stranded at this point, and no garages would even take a look at the car to remove the bolt and install a new one. So if you're interested in seeing how I managed to fix the issue and get the car back on the road, make sure to keep watching. I put some cable ties around the sway bar to prevent it from randomly kicking out and causing further damage to the wheel. So I walked to a local tool hire and they provided me with the tools to carry out the repair. So what you look at here is some Loctite. I also got a punch to mark the bolt and to keep the drill bit centre. I also got a snapped bolt remover, which you thread anti-clockwise after drilling your hole, and I got some longer and more durable bolts. So when you're doing these types of repairs, you want to give yourself as much access as possible, so I removed the sway bar entirely. So if you're wondering what the sway bar is, it's just what controls the height of the rear axle on these cars. And now I have plenty of access to work on removing the snapped bolt. This part is quite important, so you do want to keep your drill bit as centre as possible, as you could end up damaging the threads by going at an angle. Now, after drilling in a couple of centimetres, I noticed luckily the bolt was quite loose in there. I managed to just pry it out with a flathead screwdriver, and I was even able to take it out by hand in the end. It's so seldom that these types of jobs work out so easily, but it also shows at the same time how damaged the threads are in there. So I'm going to have to address this when I can get the car back home to my garage. So look, I'm going to take the victory and I'm going to get the sway bar back into the car and get it all bolted back up. I made sure to put on plenty of Loctite and I let it settle for a couple hours as well before even driving the car. The bolt I'm installing is also quite a bit longer than the previous one, so I'm hoping that this grips a lot better in the threads that are there, and hopefully it doesn't come loose for quite a while until I can inspect it further. I was being very careful with this bolt after snapping the previous one, and I did have quite a bit of anxiety around it, but luckily it turned out fine. So I just gave the sway bar there a few taps just to get it in a little bit further, make sure it's seating in there, and then get it all tightened back up. So now it's time to get the car back onto the ground and to start enjoying driving again. So unfortunately, not the most fun video this week, but these are the types of sacrifices sometimes that you have to make when you're driving a 26-year-old car. So I hope you enjoyed it and see you next time.